If you're worried that setting boundaries will scare clients off, you're not alone. But here's the truth. The right clients don't leave because you have boundaries. They leave when things feel unclear, reactive, and messy. In this video, we'll walk you through how to set boundaries with clients in a way that protects your time, improves delivery, and actually strengthens the relationship without sounding harsh or inflexible. Let's start with what boundaries really are. Boundaries aren't a personal preference, they're an operating system. Boundaries prevent burnout, scope creep, and confusion. In clients' work, the biggest threats are chronic scope creep, blurred expectations, and just one more thing. When boundaries are undefined, you end up with endless revisions, after-hours messages, and vague deliverables, which creates operational chaos and drains your energy. Clear boundaries act like a firewall. They protect your time and they protect the work. Because when you know what's included, when feedback happens, and how communication works, you can stay focused, meet deadlines, and deliver consistent quality. They establish mutual respect and professional trust. Boundaries aren't about being difficult, they're about being professional. When you communicate working hours, response times, and channels up front, you're signaling respect for your client's time and your own. And clients trust experts who operate with clear standards. It shifts the dynamic from order taker to trusted advisor because you're leading with a process, not reacting to every request. Clear limits support predictable, scalable collaboration. If your workflow depends on making exceptions every week, it doesn't scale. Boundaries create predictability. You can plan resources, plan timelines, and run projects consistently. It's also what allows you to onboard new team members smoothly, because the collaboration model doesn't live in someone's head, it lives in your process. Boundaries protect your energy and business sustainability. Unchecked demands drain cognitive bandwidth. And when your energy is constantly being pulled into low-impact requests, your best work suffers. Boundaries protect space for high-leverage work. Strategic thinking, better delivery, and proactive improvement. The things that keep your service strong over time. Healthy boundaries underpin evidence-based decisions. One of the most underrated benefits, boundaries create a shared reference point. When scope, timelines, and deliverables are documented, you don't have to argue from emotion or memory. You can point to what was agreed. You can handle change requests cleanly. And you can improve your process based on patterns, not stress. The best boundaries don't show up mid-conflict. They're established before the work even begins. Use onboarding materials to outline expectations and scope. If you start a client relationship with "we'll figure it out," you're inviting ambiguity. Instead, use onboarding materials, a welcome guide, a simple handbook, even a one-page "how we work" document. It should clearly explain the phases of the project, what deliverables are included, what the client needs to provide, key milestones and timelines. This turns onboarding from a vibe into a system. And when questions come up later, that document becomes your neutral reference point, reducing friction and emotional conversations. Define office hours, response times, and urgent scenarios. This is where a lot of people hesitate, but it's essential. State your office hours clearly, then define response times. For example, standard requests. Reply within 24 hours. Urgent issues, handled via a separate protocol. And be very clear about what urgent means, because if you don't define it, everything becomes urgent, and your workflow becomes permanently reactive. Specify communication channels and revision protocols. Pick channels with purpose. Email for formal updates. A project tool for tasks and deliverables. a chat channel only if it's genuinely needed, and only for the right type of message. This prevents information getting lost, and it keeps requests flowing through the correct process. Then set revision boundaries. How many rounds are included? How feedback should be submitted? What turnaround time applies? This is how you avoid infinite loops and feedback by ambush. Document boundaries in contracts and proposals. Verbal agreements disappear. Written agreements protect both sides. Your contract or proposal should include working hours, response times, payment terms, revision limits, communication methods, and how changes are handled. If boundaries are crossed, for example late payment or out of scope work, document what happens next. Not as a threat, as clarity. Clarify inclusions and exclusions for each package. Ambiguity is the breeding ground for resentment. So make inclusions and exclusions unmistakable, ideally with a simple checklist or table. When a client asks for something outside scope, you can calmly say, "Happy to help, that's outside the current package. Here are your options." That keeps the relationship solution focused while protecting your time. Setting boundaries is step 1. Holding them is what makes them real. Apply rules uniformly, avoid ad hoc exceptions. The fastest way to break your boundaries is to make exceptions casually. Replying to one late night message trains clients that late night messages work. Waiving a fee once trains clients that fees are flexible. Consistency is what makes boundaries feel like a system, not a mood. If your policy is reply within 24 hours, follow it across the board. Not because you're rigid, because you're reliable. Use scripts, templates, and automation to reinforce limits. You don't need to emotionally rewrite the same boundary message every week. Create simple scripts for common scenarios. Thanks for this. I'll review it during my next working block and reply within 24 hours. That request sits outside the agreed scope. I can quote it as an add-on. I've noted your feedback. We'll handle revisions in the next review round. Templates reduce emotional labor and keep your tone consistent. You can also use simple automations like autoresponders or scheduling links to reinforce expectations without friction. Address oversteps promptly with calm, direct reminders. If a client crosses a boundary, don't wait. Delay looks like permission. Respond calmly and neutrally, referencing the agreed process. As outlined in our agreement, I'll be able to address this in our next scheduled session. That keeps the message professional and removes personal tension from the moment. Document agreements and communications. Keep basic records. Save email threads. Log key decisions. Summarize call outcomes. This protects you if there's ever confusion, and it helps you spot patterns. Where are boundaries being tested? Where is scope unclear? What needs tightening? Offer alternatives or referrals when declining requests. This is a powerful technique. No, I'm not available for weekend calls, but I can book you for Monday morning. No, that's not included, but I can add it as a scoped upgrade. No, that isn't my area, but I can refer you to someone who specializes in it. You're maintaining the boundary while still supporting the outcome. Clients don't resent no when it comes with a clear next step. Boundaries aren't only about time and scope, they're also about professionalism. Redirect personal questions politely. Rapport is good. Over-familiarity isn't. If a client gets personal, asking about your private life, beliefs, or things unrelated to the work, you can stay warm while redirecting. Thanks for asking. Let's focus on your project objectives today. If they persist, you become clearer, still polite, but firm. That protects your identity and keeps the relationship centered on delivery. Stay friendly but firm during boundary discussions. The key is tone. You don't need long explanations. You don't need to over-apologize. Clarity and brevity signal professionalism. And you can soften firmness with simple warmth. Appreciate your understanding. Thanks for working within the process. Happy to help? Here's the best way to handle it. Recognize when a client isn't a good fit. Some clients repeatedly ignore boundaries. Chronic lateness, disrespectful communication, constant renegotiation after signing. If it becomes a pattern, it's not a one-off. It's misalignment. Letting go isn't failure. It's a strategic decision that protects your energy, your standards, and your other client relationships. And if you do offboard, do it professionally. Clear next steps, documented handover, and referrals where appropriate. Adapt boundaries to context and evolving needs. Boundaries aren't one size fits all. Different industries, cultures, and project types can require different approaches. The core stays the same: clarity, consistency, respect, but the shape can flex. Review and refine boundaries as you grow, based on real patterns and recurring issues. Consistency and clarity build long-term respect and loyalty. Clients thrive on predictability. When you apply consistent standards, clients trust the process. And the long-term effect is simple. You attract clients who value structure, you deliver better work, and you build relationships that last. Setting boundaries doesn't push good clients away. It filters out the wrong ones and strengthens the right relationships. Boundaries protect your time, your energy, and the quality of what you deliver. And when you communicate them early and hold them consistently, clients don't just accept them. They respect you for them. Thank you for watching.